Welcome back. Imagine you are watching Netflix while downloading a game and also chatting with a friend. All these tasks happen at the same time. That is the real example of multitasking. In programming, multithreading allows us to do the same thing running multiple tasks in parallel within a single program. Now, let's come to the thread definition. A thread is a lightweight unit of a process that executes independently, and multithreading is the ability of a CPU or a single program to run multiple threads concurrently. Now, suppose we want to print numbers and alphabets at the same time. Now, without threads, first number prints, then alphabets, and with threads, both run simultaneously and order may vary. This demonstrates the power of multithreading. Now, threads can be created in two ways. Java gives us two approaches. First, by extending the thread class, and second, by implementing the runnable interface. Now, let's see both of them one by one. Now, here I will directly paste the code to avoid extra time. So, let's write. Now, you can see in line number 2, class numbered thread extend threads. What does this mean? Here, number thread is a class that extends the built-in thread class. By doing this, we make number thread a thread itself. Any class that extends thread must override the run method to tell the JVM what task this thread will perform. Then in the next we have written public void run. Now what does this mean? This is the entry point of the thread. When we call start, JVM automatically calls this method. Then we have our for loop. Inside that we loop from 1 to 5. This thread prints numbers from 1 to 5. Then we have our print statement which prints the number. Then inside try block we have our Thread.sleep 500. What does this mean? This makes the thread pause for 500 milliseconds, that is 0.5 second after each print. Without this, everything would print too quickly. With sleep, it looks smoother and we observe threads intervening. Then we have our catch interrupted exception E. This is required because when sleep can throw an exception if thread is interrupted. So the job of this thread is to print numbers slowly one by one. Now let's make another thread for alphabets. For that we will write class alphabet thread extends thread, and it has the same logic as the number thread. Here only difference is that it will print alphabets from A to E, and each alphabet is printed after 0.5 second pause. Together this stimulates two different tasks happening at the same time. Now we will create our thread in the main. So we will write for that our statement as. Now you can see here number thread T1 is equal to number thread. What does this mean? Now here new number thread creates an object of our custom thread class, and T1 represents one thread whose job is to print the numbers, and T2 represents another thread whose job is to print the alphabets. At this point the threads are created but not running yet. So in the next step we have written T1.start and T2.start. T1.start starts the first thread and T2.start starts the second thread. T1.start tells JVM to start a new thread and internally call run method, this run method of our number thread. And T2 similarly starts the alphabet thread, this one. Now, if we had written T1.run and T2.run, then both would execute sequentially like normal methods, not real multi-threading. That's why we must always use start instead of run. Now, let's save our code and run our file. And now here you can see output order is changing every time because of thread scheduling. Number, alphabet, number, then alphabet, then number, then alphabet, then number, number. Why is this happening? Sometimes numbers may print first, sometimes alphabet, because it depends on JVM's thread scheduler. And now the question is, why does output change every run? Because the CPU decide which thread gets priority at a given moment. This process is non-deterministic. We cannot directly control it. Now, here is the question for you all. What happens if we call run instead of start? And why is thread.sleep used here? Comment your answer below. And now let's move with the next part.